Well, it's the height of silliness with both Waynes this week. We're going to start with Wayne Button, who is reading kids' books to his nephew Cam and niece Nora. Here's what it sounded like this week.
Hi. I'm going to read you a little bit of the same book I read before, but on the so angry part, I want you to say the so with me, okay? I was very surprised to find a walrus in my nanny's kitchen. He was playing the accordion. Nanny wasn't going to like this at all. I scowled and I growled. Then I marched right up to him and said, "You better stop that racket. My nanny will be so angry." But he didn't stop. He kept playing, so I went looking for my nanny. I didn't see my nanny. I saw 2 moose strumming guitars and 3 black bears drumming on pots and pans. Nanny was going to be upset. I pouted and I shouted. Then I marched right up to them and said, "You better stop that racket. My nanny will be so angry." But they didn't stop. They kept strumming and drumming, so I kept looking for my nanny.
And that is Wayne Button, our book reviewer, reading this week to his niece and nephew. Wayne, tell me what this book is called. It sounds like the kids were really into it.
It's called Nanny's Kitchen Party by Rebecca Nord, and it's illustrated by Laurel Keating. It's actually why I liked it, because anytime I really pick a kid's book, I kind of want it to be a little bit interactive, get the kids kind of going. And you can tell that she wrote it in a way like that where it was bolded and she wanted like the kids to say it with her. So I just told them to be interactive and try to say it along with me. And yeah, they seem to like the interaction there.
Now, there's a cute little girl in the book who's invited to her Nan's kitchen party. Who are the party animals that she finds?
Oh my God, she finds like, it starts off with a walrus, and then it goes to like a moose, and then bears, and it's very well done, because as they keep adding animals, the illustrator keeps putting more animals in the picture, so you can see more and more animals playing more and more instruments, and it just, I don't know, pandemonium kind of ensues, but the illustrations are really nicely done to show all the different animals. So it's definitely a book for, let's say, a kid who really likes animals, and the parents want to read it to them.
Now, Wayne, you've been doing a comparison of books with your niece and nephew. This is the second of 4 you're reviewing with them. How did this one compare to last week's book?
Well, this one was good. They really liked it as well. They said they liked this one a little bit better than last week. It's kind of interesting though, but every week I read to them, I'm going to ask them, and I'm curious if they're just going to pick whatever's freshest in their mind. So we'll see if this week they say the same thing. But this one was really nice. I like the illustrations. You can definitely tell the difference between someone who's the author and the illustrator, as opposed to this book where the illustrator was someone different. You can tell that they really do kind of art for a living, because some of these pages, if I were to cut them out without the wording and frame them, they'd almost be, beautiful illustrations that you could hang in your office or something. So you can definitely tell the difference there with the illustrators for sure.
And I understand this book won an award as well?
Yeah, it won a Canada Book Award when I researched it. So clearly it's doing pretty well. Now, the author is from Halifax, but, kitchen parties are, Atlantic province type theme. So I guess that's why they feel it's really good for Newfoundlanders and Labradorians as well. But no, it was a really good book, I got to say. And like I said, my niece and nephew, they liked it better than last week. So I wonder what they're going to think of the next one.
What is the next one, Wayne?
Yeah, I got to narrow it down to one of two. It's either going to be a bit of Puffin, or we might actually have a Labrador City author. She just put out a book recently last week, Noreen Paul, and I ordered it on Amazon, so I'm hoping to get it in time to read it to them before the end of July, as we're covering kids' books, because it's about her and her partner doing King's Quest. It looks really, really good, so I'm really hoping to get that before the end of July.
And we've actually spoken to Kareem. We're going to hear from her next week about that book, so hopefully you'll be able to get your hands on a copy and we'll be able to hear your review of it. Thanks so much.
Awesome.
Thanks so much for talking to us today.
Thanks so much, Janice. Have a good week.
You too.
Did we do anything after this?
Kind of feeling we did.
We were watching TV. Watching TV. We were watching TV. Watching TV.
Well, Wayne Walsh is also serving up some grade A silliness this week. There's no talking animals, but there is music and lots of cheesy sing-along music. Wayne is talking up Will Ferrell's Eurovision Song Contest, the story of Fire Saga on Netflix. Have a listen.
Ever since we were children, we've had one dream.
Winning the Eurovision Song Contest.
All right, everyone. I am Lars. This is Sigrid. We are Fire Saga.
Who wants to hear a Eurovision song?
All of Iceland think we are a joke.
That's not true.
And my father is ashamed of me.
No, he's not.
He looked me into the eyes and said, I am ashamed of you.
Maybe he was drunk.
He said, and you might think that I'm drunk, but I am dead sober.
Idiot. Officially, Fire Saga will be representing Iceland at Eurovision this year.
I hate them.
Absolutely terrible. They're old, disgusting people. But we have no choice.
So we're in. Yep.
42 countries, hundreds of performers, and a worldwide audience of 180 million. This is Eurovision.
You have to watch that guy. He is a sex player.
Hey, looking good. Secret, very beautiful voice.
Thank you.
We are a duo that will never be separated.
George Michael said something about other Wham guy. No one even knows his name.
Andrew Ridgely.
You have to stay focused.
We need to win.
What are you doing?
I just want my ding dong to...
And that is a clip of Will Ferrell's Eurovision Song Contest, the story of Fire Saga. Wayne Walsh, I wouldn't have taken you for a Eurovision fan.
I wouldn't have taken me as one either when you get it described to you, but it's pretty popular. It's just not something that's huge over here. But the contest has been it's a real contest, whether the movie is real or not. But the contest started in 1956, and it's done annually. And it's kind of like the Americans Got Talent thing, but obviously it came first. And on top of that, you're going to see that the weird thing about this movie is that when you win Eurovision, the following year, the winner's country, because it's done by countries in the European area, is the host of the next one. So most of this movie focuses on the idea that Iceland is where it's focused on, and Will Ferrell and Rachel McAdams are in it, and they're the two main characters. But the movie starts off with a ringer for Iceland, and the idea that their town is too small to bring Eurovision there, and they're a bit worried about the country, but that's about as serious as it's going to get. This movie had me surprised. Whenever I hear Rachel McAdams or Will Ferrell doing a kind of an accent, I kind of have to stop and think about it, and it kind of sounds a bit foolish, but then you remember you're watching Will Ferrell, and that's what you get.
Well, I have to admit, I haven't seen the movie, and I didn't even know Eurovision was an actual song contest. Do people who not know about these things, can you still enjoy this comedy?
Oh, every bit of it. The story actually starts off with a young boy who wants to grow up and win Eurovision, and I'm sure there's a lot of European kids out there that are like that, to give it a bit of realism. But just the silliness of how they actually get into Eurovision, a series of unfortunate events that happens to the group, to being a feel-good story towards the end, with Rachel McAdams and Will Ferrell. Demi Lovato has a singing role, and Will Ferrell's dad, who's you just heard in the previews, kind of disappointed in him wanting to be a singer in Iceland, land of Vikings and all that good stuff. And it's Pierce Brosnan. So Pierce Brosnan reacting with Will Ferrell is just amazing to have those two characters together. And Rachel McAdams kind of brings back the good days of which she would do a comedy role in Mean Girls or Wedding Singers. She's great in this.
Now, there's a variety of comedy movies out there, you know, those that make you cry laughing and those that you just kind of chuckle at. Where does this one fall?
This one sits in with having to sit through the beginning where they're going to kind of give you a bit of a story with kind of humorous parts, but it's not until you sink into about a half hour where you are actually keeling over, laughing, trying to just make sense of the silliness. I can't get over how he still keeps doing it. Will Ferrell gets out and he does Step Brothers, from making more room for activities to, Old School, where he's just wild. And this one he's playing kind of a serious character, just has a bunch of unfortunate things happen. And it's just a feel-good story with a little subtle, love story there, just to give you the typical, couple duo singing in a big event, and the girl likes the boy, and the boy just wants to win, and it kept me interested. And at some points when I started laughing, I was pretty impressed, because it was, when you see the title and the makeup and the accents, some people might be turned off, but that's why I'm here, to tell you to sit through that actually 20 minutes that might not be the funniest thing you've ever seen, but you will get to a point that you're going to laugh, and you're going to laugh very hard.
So is this movie suitable for the whole family?
There's no adult situations with any kind of adult language or any kind of, we'll say, risque things, but I would say it's probably more for the 13, 14-year-old up, so you can probably watch it with your teenage child. There's just kind of a little bit of negativity there when people are cutting down a band, and because they aren't really that good, and people are not really nice to them, and I don't know how you'd want to bring that across your younger family. For me, for example, I wouldn't want to explain to my kids how they're bad, and everybody was making fun of them, so I just make sure they know the difference between having some kind of fun or someone that might take it serious.
Now, you've been on YouTube looking up old Eurovision contestants watching this comedy, haven't you?
Yes, you have to, because when you watch these movies, if you're anything like me, you need to know if this is true. Like, the story is this has true aspects and it has fake aspects, and for me, I always like to know what's the real and what's the difference. So when I went in and looked up, the Eurovision Song Contest has big artists and little ones. Like, some of them include ABBA won, Celine Dion won in Switzerland. Like, these are things that people don't really hear about over here, but in Europe is a huge deal.
And do you secretly want to enter Eurovision now?
No, I'm a terrible singer. I might have a lot of guitars, but I always rely on somebody else to make me sound good.
Well, thanks so much for telling us about this movie this morning.
Oh, I'm glad I could pass it on. I think where it's summer nights and people's looking for something just a bit of fun to sit around and have a few cocktails or drinks, you're probably going to enjoy this if it's a rainy night or something like that.
Perfect. You have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you very much.
And that's Wayne Walsh, our TV watcher, and he's putting a band together. Well, we think maybe he'll put a band together for Eurovision 2021.